All right, Pot of Gold, welcome back. I'm Brett. I'm here with Mike, who's dropping a rap album any day now, the Tiger Woods collection. As always, Grant the intern in the $1,000,000 studio behind the glass, running the boards. Fellas, boys, gents, how we feeling?
Good. It's mid-October, 10 days into October or so. So you got to bundle up, dude. Like I've got a beanie on, I've got the sweater, I bought a chimenea for the patio, even
You
though I
know,
think
you
there's
know you're
still a
hitting
burn
mid.
ban.
You know you're hitting mid-30s when you're at the Costco looking at chimeneas.
Chimeneas, laying the sand, getting some good bricks inside. You gotta cure it.
You're gonna
Anyway,
play. You're gonna play your guitar out by that fire one time and never do it again.
once. Yeah, gotta do it one time. No, but I am a little bundled up. But you gotta listen, dude. You gotta get the fucking pumpkin spice lattes. You gotta wear the flannels. You gotta get moving because it's a mindset, and it's not just a mindset for you personally, but football as well. October is a big, fun month. Going to be boots on the ground this weekend, so looking
I
forward to
love
talking
it.
about that.
I love it. Mike's going to be in section 108 backstage passes, so look for him. Shout out Pot of Gold to the boy. LSU takes down Missouri in a tough battle, 49-39. Shout out Major Burns for covering that spread.
That's it.
Shout out. I needed that one.
That is it, though. Major Burns is awful. So is Sage Ryan. God.
Flashbacks to it was Craig Lawson, right? That had the 99-yarder to cover that spread. Good times. Hit us up on Twitter at Pot of Gold, at Gold Mike, potofgold@gmail.com, patreon.com/gold to support the fellers.
Where
do you want to go? We doing an ad read?
Yeah, let's do it in the beginning.
All right.
The sponsors get upset when we don't.
Yeah, shout out to the sponsors. Big sponsor this week. There comes a time in every man's life where they know they found the one. At this point, the only question is, how am I going to ask the question? Studies show that 36% of men do not propose to a woman or man due to stage fright. Well, boys, do we have the solution for you. Introducing Cristobal's Proposals, where we take the work out of your hands. Whether it's setting up a romantic dinner for two or faking a mugging so you can be the hero, we take care of it all. The only thing we can't do is get down on a knee for you. That's Cristobal Proposals, and let them know the boys at Pot of Gold sent you. Use the promo code POG.
Excellent. Excellent. No, they do not specialize in taking knees. That's something that Mario is not a fan of.
Who? What?
Mario Cristobal.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, shout out to our sponsors. We're jumping into the show now.
Let's do it.
No, that was a tough scene. I was literally watching that game. I was telling Grant, I'm at the point where it's like Saturdays are a long day. So it's like towards the end, LSU game's over. There's just a few more out there. I'm like, I'm just going to go to bed and watch on my phone. And I'm literally watching the Miami game because I'm like, okay, like this is really the only like action left on the board until the USC game. And they get a first down with 2 minutes left. I'm like, okay, now let's go like put all of our energy into rooting for Arizona here. And then like 3 minutes later, Grant's like, down goes Miami. I was like, excuse me? I literally just watched them get the first down to like end the game. What an incredible scene. Like what
that
a
was
clown move.
Disaster of clock.
Can you imagine? I was just giggling, laughing at the thought of like LSU doing that and the amount of people that would just be irate with Brian Kelly. Like, God, it would be. I'm sure it's a meltdown in Miami, but just like flipping in our.
It would be different. It would be different here.
It would certainly be different. Absolutely. But Miami finally got some juice this season. They had some momentum going, and that's
5-0.
Own opportunity there to Georgia Tech and Haynes King.
Woo. Miami #1 in the BCS, Michael.
Yeah, they were. They were.
Really?
Number one. Yeah, they were the #1 team in the country if we were using computers from 2001.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would make sense. That would make sense. They were around back in 2001. We bring back the pisser stickers. Yeah, I've got a handful. I'll be out there slapping them around.
Perfect.
Yeah, their biggest win was they beat A&M. They put up 48 points on this A&M.
They didn't just beat A&M. They pounded A&M into submission and didn't even play that good.
And A&M loves that kind of shit.
Before the Georgia Tech game, they had only given up. They played Miami, Ohio. They gave up 3 points. Bethune-Cookman 7 points, and Temple 7 points. So they've been rolling people. until Georgia Tech got them.
Yeah, Georgia Tech fired their defensive coordinator like 6 days ago. So,
which we need to do. Matt House
I
needs
was
to
gonna
go.
say, what a perfect lead in to how we want to start the show.
Matt House needs to go. I don't care what he did last season. Just the utter incompetency to teach these kids what to do. We don't know what we're doing, and we literally have to go back to basics, right? That's our focus. We need to learn how to tackle. We need to learn how to fill gaps. The DBs need to learn how to play the ball after flipping their hips. The safeties need to learn how to play safety. I don't know what the hell they're doing back there. Major Burns, great job on the pick 6. Harold Perkins, great job on the pick, the pressure. I mean, like the dudes certainly improved in a sense where they made plays that were literally in front of them to make and didn't fuck that up. And so, you know, we did get a sack, fumble, which was fun and exciting. We had a couple pressures, but for the most part, guys, it was more of the same. I don't want to sit here and beat the chest and say the defense looked great, because it was
how are you
more of the same.
feeling? How are you feeling when Missouri had the ball 4th and 32 in shotgun?
Not good at all.
Because I was not feeling great.
Not
RG3's, it's like, you got to punt. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think that they're making the best play.
Yeah, not a hook and ladder. They should have just ran a normal play.
And tried to, he ran a normal play and then, or just like tried to get a pass interference, because that was out there somewhere. Like, I was scared to death. Like, how come we can't just fall on that ball?
Oh, man. Savion Jones trying to recover a fumble. I mean, man.
That was hard to watch.
It's really hard to watch. Like, Savion Jones does the same thing every play. He shuffles in and then turns and heads for the angle. It's just like pursuit drills every play with him.
Hey, Pete's gonna get that figured out. Look, I know the defense wasn't great, and it's like, you can't do this, but take out the first few possessions and the defense stepped up and played a lot better. I thought the D-line played by far, not saying much, by far the best game of the year. Pete Jenkins got us back on national championship watch. Less looking lost out there, I would say. They did enough with the offense that LSU has. The defense did enough to get a win against a lot of teams. Take out those first couple possessions where it was just god-awful.
I agree they improved. I absolutely agree they improved. And honestly, I know it's Missouri. I know it's Ole Miss. I know it's Arkansas, but those are some good offenses. They have some good quarterbacks, right? Moving forward, Auburn's offense isn't as good as what we just played, right? I think
that's the thing. If Auburn comes in and we make them look like Ole Miss, or how we've gotten dug up the last month, like, then I'm fully on, like, let's just clean house. Like, everyone who has defense in their title, let's just process them out. It's been nice knowing you, and bring in a fresh batch. Hopefully Marcus Freeman's available.
There is just no, I don't see any reason whatsoever to keep this defensive staff at this point. And I understand there's been issues like with the lack of defensive line development and just the essentials. Like, these guys, the basics, these guys are on their own. They haven't been taught this stuff. And Brian Kelly owned up to it. He said, I wish I would have done this sooner, bringing Pete in, right? That's the one regret that I have. Because honestly, people are like, oh, why didn't you go out and hire another coach? Like, well, I mean, this was in fall
middle of the
camp.
season.
It's like the season's about to start, and like, dude goes to the ICU. It's not like he fucking quit. Like, it was a rare situation to happen, but you got to hit the panic button at that point and be like, hey, the defensive line can't just like not be coached. Like, these guys need to be held accountable for the lack of effort and the lack of discipline and just the simple basics. With that being said, the rest of the cast and crew look like they're not catching on to anything. There is still so much confusion on what the basic concepts of playing defensive back is. Like, the defensive backs, for as quote unquote untalented as they are, they're still not doing the simple things correctly either. So the good news is Harold Perkins plays that nickel Sam spot, and he's in coverage a lot. And
he's our best coverage corner.
Decent at covering. And then whenever we get a little bit of a pass rush, and we have to rush those throws. Like if we're not getting a pass rush, like these throws are money.
Yeah.
Like there is no, like even if we're in good coverage, chances are the ball is going to be placed perfectly because there is no pressure at all. But the minute we start getting that pressure, there is mistakes to be had. You saw Andre Sam come up with a pick a couple of weeks ago. You saw Harold Perkins, Major Burns. Like you're going to be able to make some plays on the ball, but it starts up front.
I will say, not an excuse, but it does feel like we've gotten like the wrong end of every possible like 50-50 ball. Like we've gotten Moss so many times where it's just like drop one of these, please. Like, can someone not just go over?
It, give us a chance to like get hit in the back, like because we're not playing the ball. So
the turnover luck has to kind of flow our way at some point. It's like someone's not going to just jump over the DB and catch it one toe tap in the end zone every time.
Yeah, the problem is it's not happening as soon as we want it to happen. We're past the halfway mark now, right? And so
that's crazy.
Second half of the season is starting up where the offense is peaking. We're talking like best offense I've seen in a very long time. Best offense in the country.
Not named 2019.
Yeah, I mean, like, right. But I'm saying, like, even with some of like the great Georgia teams, Bama teams, whatever, like this offense right now, because of Jaden Daniels and how dynamic he is in all facets of the game now, deep ball, intermediate routes, running, his toughness, like his poise, everything right now is hitting at an all-time high. You're peaking. Defense has to catch up. I don't care if they're never going to be a B defense. I want C plus. If we can just get average to C plus defense, this is going to be a really fun second half of the season with a lot to be happy about. But if they continue to just do the same bullshit and they're not coached up correctly and like just with the basics, you cannot retain any of these guys on staff. You got to gut it and you need to go in the transfer portal and pay up. You got to pull a Florida State. You got to start pulling out the big guns. I don't care if you take a cheap defensive coordinator. If you pump a couple million into a recruiting class and just restock, like let's do it. Because the offensive side of the football, they figured it out. They're being coached up and there's development happening every single week. Defensively, it's nearly regression at this point. And that's why I want to see more of the young guys. Stick with Weeks, right? Weeks needs to stay in the football game.
It's like
can hit the road if Spades comes back or have them rotate, but Weeks should never leave the game.
It makes me feel bad, but every press conference he's like, Omar Spades is probable, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, but it's for depth purposes. That's great, but like, don't hijack a position from Weeks.
Yeah,
that kid is you know, an AJ Hawk in the making. You know,
he's the one that's going to make those plays for you, where he's going to force some fumbles and he's going to go 100% every time. It's like, yeah, I need him out there.
But you also, I think I told you this, Mike, after the game, like Weeks isn't there yet. He is going to eventually be like that leader of the defense. We don't really have a guy that people I mean, Wingo, I guess people might turn to him.
Yeah.
But I feel like it usually starts with that linebacker, and like Harold Perkins isn't like a leader out there on the field. And I don't think he ever will be, you know, in terms of vocal leadership and getting guys getting on their ass. And I'm hoping Weeks turns into that type of player. And one thing, Mike, you said the defense looked discombobulated again. I think what happened in the first quarter, I mean, you had guys not set for the entire opening couple drives, and
we're not in fucking stances.
We're doing absolutely nothing. We're pointing at each other and laughing essentially. And I think what happened was we literally tried to go man to man, and guys had no idea when they started motioning people. They had no idea who they had, so they're all pointing around. And then 2 touchdowns later, so we're like, all right, scrapping the man. Let's do what we suck even more at.
What the fuck do we do all day?
That's what I'm saying.
That's the point. That's what I'm saying about like, I don't care even up until this point in the season. It's like, I've seen enough. Like, even if you know, like, hey, these guys are not as talented and they're out of position, we're going to have some tough going here. It's like, okay, great. But make sure like we keep it simple and they at least know how to fucking line up properly. They're ready to go. They're getting the signals in. They're on the same page. Like, let's just do good at that. And let's see how good we can play. But like, we can't even get that shit squared away.
Let's just stop
Crazy.
worrying about coverages and practice tackling all day, every day, and I think we'll be better.
Absolutely. We'll be better. And that's all you need is to see incremental growth, small little growth each week on the little things getting better. We did see some pressure this week. We did see some turnovers this week. So guess what? That's a little step forward. It's not enough for me to feel like we have a chance to win out, but we need to keep making that progress. If we can show up against Auburn and be like, okay, this is an awful passing team, like the worst passing team in the SEC, right? If we can like just hold them, shit, dude, to 300 yards.
Well,
Okay.
jump on them
Like,
28-7
hold 'em.
before they can fucking blink, and then it's like, here you go.
If
Yeah.
we hold teams to 30 or less, we should win every game. You know,
We should, but like what scares me is those weeks that
And that's
like
a
we
lot
go
of
up against a really good fucking defense, and it's like, hey, we could only squeak out 28, and we fucking blew.
yeah,
it.
then
Right,
we're
like,
not
go-
going to win.
Going
Like
to
A&M.
Bama, we can't expect to score 56 points.
No,
I
no.
don't think I think Texas A&M's defense is pretty damn good. Like
Mhm.
I'm a little worried that we're not gonna just look like this amazing offense. And you never know what happens last game of the year, who's playing for what. Should be a revenge game for LSU, like, but it's just one of those, like, as confident as I am in the offense, like Mike's been saying it for weeks, like there's gonna be a time where the defense is gonna have to win a game. We're gonna
Mhm.
only score 27, and it's like it's gonna be a struggle. And it could be a lot of years it's that Auburn game. So it's like, I don't know, maybe we're gonna run back
Florida,
into
right? Like Florida's a team that can put up a big game if you pull it
If you
out
let them.
on the road against Bama, and like you have this amazing victory. You got to turn around and go right back home against a Florida team that's gonna coming for blood, right? And so you got to go back and forth with a team like that. A&M is no joke right now. So these next couple of weeks are very crucial. You need a good defensive performance against Auburn. You should. This is a bad offense, and you need to show that you are better than a bad offense on defense. And so establish that, and then you get Army, right? So you have to
that's
focus
your get right game.
on the team, right? Right.
That's
So you focus on run scheme, run discipline, like let them fucking try to throw that. It is what it is. But you play a basic fucking game where you out talent them and you're back, right? And then you get a
you're
long
rolling into a bye.
go into a bye. So you have 3 weeks of 4 weeks of positive incremental growth. Go into the Alabama game and give it everything you got. That's going to be who we are. If we can fucking pull that out, then you're like, okay, this team is that silent, crazy team that's like, they have 2 losses, but if they went out, how do you keep off the Heisman contender, Jaden Daniels, and then this new and improved defense from a playoff shot if they beat Georgia in the SEC championship? Like that,
someone else is going to lose. Someone else is going to lose.
Ole Miss is going to lose.
This is the weakest field I think we've ever seen.
Well, the Pac-12 is going to beat up on each other. They're going to eventually drop some games.
We're in a spot where we need Oklahoma to slip up on.
We need Oklahoma to chill out a little bit.
Like,
who else do they have?
Not really anyone. I mean, they're going to most likely have to play Texas again in the Big 12 championship game.
Let's also give them props. Like, what a season! I'm sure we'll get to the breakdown of the game.
Hell of a job by Venables to have
that's
an
crazy.
awful first season and then rebound with elite defense. He's a defensive coach, and he made it work. Texas runs a great offense. You can say what you want about UT, but their offense is tough to stop. If
they have
anything.
dudes too,
and Oklahoma stepped up and stopped them, but they've also finally crossed the path of having that offense return and be more balanced with Dylan Gabriel. So it's a good team.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's like you said, if LSU wins out, like most likely Jaden Daniels is your Heisman Trophy winner, and it's like SEC champion, really hard to take them out of the mix. But there's just we were talking before the show, it's like this team is the perfect, and LSU could lose 2 more games, and this would sound really dumb, but like this team is the perfect team for this new age college football playoff where it's like everyone and their dog gets in. It's like, hey guys, not great at the beginning, figuring some things out. Hottest team in the country, ranked number 9.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so
And like,
we'll see what happens this season though, dude, but like there is a chance. Like the offense is so good that there is a chance every week that we're going to score enough points to squeak out a fucking thrilling victory that we shouldn't have been involved in, right? And we have that team to do this. The hope as LSU fans, because in our entire lifetime we've never seen a defense this bad. The hope is that we're gonna wake up and be like, that was a bad dream. We're back, right? Like we're actually gonna put some shit together. Mason Smith is gonna be Mason Smith.
dude, get ready because all bye week we're going to be talking about how Pete Jenkins has the Mason monster revved up and ready to go. Like, yeah, I'm already telling you now. I'm all the way bought in.
Or if we turn around and it's like, okay, now by mid-season, it's like the real Denver Harris is here to play. It's like he all of a sudden he's making picks left and right, and he's just locking it down. Welsh like turns the corner.
Stamps.
You know,
Imagine Pete Jenkins just retired ass sitting at home and looks over at his wife. They're watching Wheel of Fortune for the 5th time today, and he's like, I gotta hop on a PJ to Mizzou. Like I gotta get out of here.
it's essentially what happened.
I gotta get back with the boys. I'm going
Who
to
do you think called
Tuscaloosa in
who?
2 weeks.
Who do you think called who?
Brian called him.
Do you think Pete maybe called Brian, was like, hey man,
Buddy, buddy.
you have
I got
to
some
do this.
screenshots.
Actually,
for
you know who it was? I think Ed called Brian and was like, "Hey, I know a guy."
No, it's
I know
probably
you
Scott.
don't.
Scott was
I
probably Woodward was probably just like,
literally
hey, you need some help here. Get Pete. We can get Pete for you.
the D line
Or,
coach from when I was in school here is actually available, and they're
Yeah.
like, we don't know for how long.
Right.
That probably is. Brian was probably having a discussion with Scott, and Scott's like, "Look, there's one guy you can call. I have his number. I don't know if his wife's going to let him do it or not."
It's a house phone.
It's a house phone. Yes, it's a corded phone. Yes.
Hello?
Give him a call. Not at
Hello,
dinner.
hello.
God,
Hey,
I know.
Pete, it's Brian Kelly.
But he was ripping ass with the refs. I mean, he was just
Yeah.
like, I came back.
Oh
home,
man,
you know?
dude, talk about feeling alive. I'm sure he felt the juices flowing. How
Dude,
good
he
after?
on the road, hostile, just God,
And
you
I
know,
Kelly
thought-
didn't even think to turn around and chill him out. He was just
Speaking
like,
of-
let
no.
it go.
Speaking of environment, I was impressed with Mizzou's environment. I thought they had a pretty packed house. It seemed like a fun. 11 o'clock games are weird. Like we're so conditioned because of almost our whole life, LSU, if they catch an 11 o'clock game, it's like we're gonna beat the fuck out of South Carolina today, boys. Like it's on Jefferson Pilot, like no worry. So it like gives me this feeling of like it doesn't matter as much. I'm just like, yeah, we'll fucking win this. It's Mizzou. And then you look over and like Texas is fighting for their lives with Bam, and you're like, wait, no, I guess this game actually does like mean something.
That's good. It means a lot. It means a lot. It meant a lot for Missouri as well. Man, I don't like their coach at all. I don't like him at all.
It's also nice because when you get that nice 11 a.m. win, you can just sit back and troll all day. Like
Yeah.
all the Notre Dame fans who just got a little mouthy
that
in the
was so
first
awesome.
quarter. It's like, dude, when you play at 6:30, you should shut your fucking mouth because like we've been here. It's gonna bite you in the ass.
Oh, they turned on Freeman hard on
Who
Saturday.
could have seen that?
That was
Who?
rough. That was rough.
That was a
actually,
very LSU Florida State moment where you're like, this game could go either way. What the fuck? How is it a 3-score game?
and they have USC this weekend, right?
Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. I mean, honestly, it'd be good for Notre Dame to knock them out. And so Notre Dame would have 2 losses. USC would have a loss going into a big Pac-12 stretch at the end of the season.
Oregon, Washington this week. I know I'm jumping ahead. I just had to look and see what time that USC game was. USC 6:30.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we jump too far ahead, a lot of praise to Diggs and Neighbors and Thomas, our other three-headed
that-
monsters.
Once again, we said it last week, but that's what like really sucks is that we don't get to like hop on here and just slurp the offense for 30 minutes. We complain about how we can't even figure out where to line up. And it's like our offense is humming at such an elite. It's like it feels very 2019 where it's like LSU had played like maybe 2 games, or it was Texas week 2. It might even be
Yeah.
the first game where we ran that like zone read slant across the middle, and you're like, oh, okay, like this offense can kind of score at will, probably on anyone.
It
That's
was
how
the
I
first
just
glimpse of like what the 2019 season would look like. It was across the middle to Jamar Chase in the end zone against, I don't know, fucking Utah State or Georgia.
yeah, one of
Georgia
those
Southern.
Northwestern
Yeah.
type schools.
It was
Yeah, and
Georgia Southern, Texas Northwestern.
And it was like, dude, he fit that in so easily, and Jamar just kind of just fucking caught it effortlessly and walked in.
well, it's probably how most defenses feel when they play LSU, but it's like I don't care what the down and distance is. I sit there and I'm like, yeah, we're probably gonna pick this up. It's like
Yeah.
3rd and 12. I'm like, I mean, we'll find neighbors for 15 here. Like, I'm not. It's just so casual.
It's so awesome to witness this offense clicking. And the best part for me is watching this offensive line now be completely like they've gotten
Kinda
through their
mean.
growing pains. They've gotten
Yeah.
through their growing pains. They're playing in sync. They're playing like fun. They're like dapping each other between each fucking pancake. Like it's like that's a really, really good offensive line right now. Now the problem we have a hyperextended knee on Charles Turner, and you saw an immediate fuck up by Martinez when he went in there. Like immediately is snapping the ball erratically, immediately gets a holding, immediately like it's a false start whenever he didn't snap the ball. Didn't get like communication between him and Nussmeier, and then they were like, all right, you're out of here. And they put DJ Chester in.
And one of the things, and it might have been, I think it might have even been Chester at this point, but one of my favorite things about the offensive line, and you could construe it in a way that said it was like confusion, but there was so much communication of pointing people out at times of like, hey man, we know you're a little behind. We all know what the fuck's going on. So just like sit there, listen up, and just follow the directions. And it was like multiple people pointing out, like, hey, this is, whatever the fuck they're calling out on the line. And it was like almost looked a little chaotic, but then they were right there in sync. So
They
it's
got
like
set and they got the hands on the guys, and it's always great protection. Like Jaden literally has great protection. He's reading the defense appropriately because he's not under duress. And when he is under duress, it's not with the entire fucking defensive line. It's like one or two people that he can shake and get out of because of his athleticism. So the O-line is playing really, really well right now. And that just creates so many opportunities for Jaden and for Diggs to read these holes appropriately. Logan Diggs, his lateral speed is crazy. Like he might not be like an insane fast, like front head.
His 10-yard burst is good.
10-yard burst, and even like that high step, like sideways, he's still like moving forward and getting positive yardage whenever he's like catching his balance. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, this offense is just so much better when there's a legit threat to get a first down every time you hand the ball off.
Doug W says Emory Jones is the SEC O lineman of the week. Is that confirmed, or is that like?
Yeah, no, he really was today.
Yeah. He sent Zalance Hurd back to the bench. Listen, Hurd's going to get his opportunities, but right now you're right. This offensive line does not need a rotation. They're playing very well. Don't rock that boat.
Yeah, I feel like I was pretty disappointed in the offensive line starting the season. It was like, we kind of had this Brian Kelly has a sick O-line. It's like you start to question, like, is Brad Davis even a good O-line coach at this point? And then now, like week 6, it's, I don't know. I'm not charting every play and watching, but like we have an upper tiered offensive line. Like it's really, really solid at this point.
Dellinger's a nasty little shit too.
Dude, yeah, I never fucking notice him, which is like the nicest thing I could say. I like if he was not even on the field, I would completely like I'd have to wait until someone tweeted that Deli was out because he's just nothing happens against him.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed on the first like 1, 2, 3 drives, him and the other guy, they were just being mean, like just playing through the whistle, shoving after the whistle.
Dude,
like,
him and Campbell on that left side, that's nasty.
They're being mean, like they're playing aggressive. And then we got that dude ejected because we twisted his ankle and then he kicks him. Like, awesome. That's the type of shit. But like, that's the type of shit your O-line needs to do. You need to get in the head. Like, that's what happened to our D-line against Florida State.
Yeah.
Their O-line was getting in our head, and vice versa. Like, you've
No,
got to
they're
play
mean.
that way.
Like you said, they're being mean.
Yeah, they're
They're-
hurting each other's feelings.
There's one of my favorite thing about the offense. There's times where I'm like kind of can get frustrated about the play calling, but you were talking about this before. They will just do what the defense says they can do. This is not a we have a wide receiver, we have to force it to. It's like, well, if we don't throw the ball to Malik Neighbors 20 times, he's going to be sulking on the sidelines. It's like we have this multi-headed monster, and we know it feels like no one gives a shit how we get it done. Like if it's, hey, we're going to hand the ball off or have Jaden run 50 times, we're going to air it out 3. I think most all these dudes would be cool with it. But it just so happens we have 2 of the better wide receivers in the conference, and we actually let them do it. And when they have their opportunities, we give them chances.
Right. And they're coming up with those opportunities. Like they're
All
making
of them.
the most of the chances. And that's the difference. And like this approach of, hey, this offense can work. You might not like it because it might not be that flashy, but we've turned the basics into flashy because we're making the plays. Like we are actually opening up the holes and busting it for 10, 20 yards with Diggs. You know, Jaden Daniels is getting protection that he needs. And now we can come up with draw plays for Jaden, and he can bust those for touchdowns, right? But then you start playing man-to-man, and we're going to take advantage of going over the top. Jaden's making the throws, and we have 2 receivers that are making all the catches right now and yards after catch. They're getting massive yardage after the catch and scoring. It's huge.
Brian Thomas did have a few drops this week for the first time in a long time, but yeah.
Yeah. Huge shout out to the toughness of Jaden Daniels. Like, I feel like we don't want to skim over that the dude got rocked, which I guess wasn't a late hit. We got a question in the chat, kind of bitch. Have we bitched about the refs yet? Like, look, we got out with a win, and it was an absolute ref show. Like that
ref show.
And I think Missouri got fucked on some call. You know, it wasn't like a one-sided. It was just an absolute ref show from the very beginning. Like Jaden Daniels is obviously
slaps.
Obviously in the end zone, and we're just like, nah, we don't need to review
the whole
that.
offense is in the end zone, and we missed it, and then they don't even review it. And that's what I was saying before we recorded, man. Like when you start losing games, not only do you get screwed with like your announcers and like who's calling your game, but like you also get like the shitty ref crew and the people that don't give a shit. Like you think they wagered into fucking Mobile or Birmingham was like, hey, we need to review this. It's like, dude, it's 11 o'clock Missouri game. We're not awake yet. Like
we're watching Red River, bro. Give us a break.
Yeah, like no one's fucking reviewing anything, and like that's ridiculous. That like those are massive swings to games. Now we made up for it, and everything was fine, and we won the game. But like, my God, dude, Jaden was clearly in the end zone.
Then he almost got his head ripped off.
That I wasn't as concerned about. It's like they didn't signal it. It's like
no. What I'm saying is
like talking about pulling the helmet off. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if you make the call the first time, then he doesn't risk getting his neck broken the next play. Like do your job.
But then the false start was just
that was bad.
And what makes it even worse is that like there's a decision you make as a defensive lineman, and it's like, okay, we're all gonna like stand up together and point this out,
make them stop
in this play. Like we're gonna be in the fucking neutral, and like we tried to do that, and the refs were like, we missed it, but like we're gonna double down on this. Like you guys are about to get run over, and like that's what happened.
At some point though, it's like you got to at least just like push the guard over. So at minimum, they called the penalty on you for 1/3 of a yard, but. Yeah, an absolute ref show, but it's like, look, survive in advance. That's kind of the mode we're in now. But for Daniels to just like not only come in after taking a pretty good little rib injury or whatever it was, but to just come in and still just be like, yeah, I'm going to take off for 30 yards, like keep the quarterback run through
people. Jaden doesn't just fucking like escape contact. Like he runs through people, he jumps over people, he gets skinny and fucking squeezes through. He is a very like he's not a tough runner. Like he doesn't fucking lower his shoulder and like bullies people, but like he's
not a soft runner.
Like he gets fucking nailed.
Yeah.
And he gets right back up and rolls through it.
He's not looking for the sidelines. He's not looking to get down at the. He's looking to get yards.
Always looking to score.
Yeah.
That's the thing about him. He's never. Every time Jaden runs with the football, you feel as if like, oh, he got the corner. All right, great. He's about to scoot out of bounds with the first down. It's like, oh no, he's moving until he gets in the end zone.
It's so funny how things work. You know, last year, if you would tell people like, hey, in 15 months, Jaden Daniels is going to be your second favorite LSU quarterback of all time.
Can you imagine?
And statistically,
can you imagine if this dude wins the Heisman?
I know.
Like
if he's at the ceremony, even
dude, he has a really, really, really good chance of like, regardless of what happens, being at the ceremony.
I think it's very much worth getting yourself a Jaden Daniels 32-1 Heisman ticket.
Absolutely. I mean, if he keeps playing like this at this level, and we see a little bit of defensive improvement, like he's going to have his opportunity. It's at Bama.
If LSU wins at Bama, Jaden Daniels has an ass in the seats in Madison Square Garden or wherever the fuck they do the Heisman.
100%. 100%. He's leading everyone in the statistics right now.
If USC's undefeated walking into the playoffs there, you know, they might throw one at Caleb Williams, but it's like Daniels has a fucking as good a shot as anyone, I think, and the odds don't match that.
Yeah, I never really thought I'd sit here and say right now I like Jaden over Caleb Williams. Like, it's crazy to think about. Like, Jaden is a better quarterback right now for this team. It's amazing to watch. It's fun. It's exciting football, and it's truly the only thing keeping me glued in on this season right now is watching this offense perform at such a high level, led by a Heisman contender at quarterback. It's brilliant to watch. It's fun to watch. And it creates an interesting like conversation for recruiting. It's like, do you like this week we have Bryce Underwood, the #1 player in the country for 2025's class. He's a junior coming in from Michigan, right? Like, you know, Terrell Pryor type of kid, like #1 overall, #1 quarterback, fucking day one type of guy to come in.
And he'll sit behind us.
Yeah, it'll be a Chris Leak Tebow situation. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, do you think that these offensive quarterbacks and like these highly touted offensive players are going to look at LSU's offense and just be like, I want to be part of that offense? I don't give a shit like if they're not winning national championships or whatever. Like, they get dudes from Louisiana, they got sick wide receivers that come in and out of here, and they're showcasing my quarterback ability. Just look at Jaden Daniels. Like, is that going to start selling regardless of the final product in the playoff discussion?
That gets these guys in the building. And if you can get them in the building, if you can get them, if we can get this kid to come to the LSU game before he commits, which he'll probably end up committing somewhere before the LSU Bama game next year, but it's like, you have a chance. Do I think we're going to start taking the Michigan kids and he's not going to go to Ohio State or something? Like, I believe it when I see it, but you have to say like, well, this dude, they're going to let me cook. Like, they're going to let me do what I want to do. And I get to do it on the biggest
dudes
stage.
Like Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Terrace Marshall, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. They have the #1 receiver in the nation already committed, the kid out of Texas. DeCorian Moore, I believe his name is. Like, let me group up with that kid. Like, they're gonna put up fucking numbers.
Sorry, I'm trying to read this comment in the thing. I mean,
hilarious.
Did we really have a commenter?
He's posted on Twitter all the time.
Wow.
Your life is on the line. Down 4, 2:30 left. Would you rather Cristobal or Les Miles? Dude, 2:30 is a lot of time.
Cristobal.
Cristobal. Look, Cristobal's problem is he can't take a knee in victory formation. Like,
how many championships has Cristobal won?
Bro.
Exactly. So give me Les Miles end of game management over Cristobal.
I'm not in love with Brian Kelly's end of game management if we got cards on the table here.
How many national championships did Les Miles have before he came to LSU?
Hey.
No, he has one when he left. I mean,
I'm just saying, I would rather Les Miles over Cristobal.
I've seen too many quarters in my life with Les Miles to take him over a dude that fucked up kneeing like kneeling at the end. Like I get it, it's bad, but we were eating.
Les never did that. Les just couldn't figure out how to call, like how to, like
We
he didn't
were-
lose
we
a
were-
game because he didn't take a knee. He
Well,
just didn't win a
Cristobal-
game because he didn't do what he was supposed to do.
I can promise you,
Call
Cristobal's
timeout.
not taking a knee with 5 minutes left up 40, which like that I'm all for. Little Les Miles, Ole Miss throwback.
That was tight. That was tight. Mettenberger, right?
That was great. Yeah, Mettenberger had the run of his life to the goal line, scores, and Les is like, don't replay this. Don't replay this. You remember that? He was literally like talking to the guy, like just appalled that he was running up the score on who the fuck was Ole Miss's coach at that point. But who wins the title first, Dan Lanning or Mario Cristobal?
Lanning,
but
Not at
you know how
Oregon?
hard it is to fucking win a national championship. It's like
Yeah, there's like
so
4
few
coaches.
people that have done it. It's like I don't think either of them will, but if I had to pick one, probably Lanning.
Which makes it so funny that Ed's got the same as like a lot of these.
That's why he's sitting here dicking around with like Roback and shit because
He's
he's
just-
like, ha ha.
He's just
Ed.
investing.
Or it's just like Saban, you know, Urban Meyer, Jimbo
Dabo.
Fisher, Dabo Sweeney.
Like
Ed.
every Aflac trivia question for the rest of our lives, and be like, who was the
Yeah.
coach? And everyone's gonna be like, God, who was?
Was it
And they're gonna
last?
be like, it's Ed. Oh shit.
How does Ed have the same amount of national titles as Mac Brown?
Dude, if Brian Kelly does turn this around and like wins the national championship and gets like a very predominant program back with LSU, no one's gonna think that Ed Orgeron was the 2019 coach. Everyone's gonna like all the regular, just
Like
casual
London.
fans are gonna be like, no, dude, that was Brian Kelly's first.
Or like
That was Les
we sent
Miles'
less
last.
off. Yeah.
Can't believe LSU fired Les after 2019.
Lamar
It
Lewis
is.
did something. He's like, we fired Ed for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
we
the
fucking
player
did.
comments are insane during the games right now. Not insane, but like
They're not
I
happy
love
with
it.
the defense.
I love it.
They're piping off. They're you know, Kayshawn talking shit about the defense was hilarious. That was I didn't see that coming from him. It's like the first time he's publicly like acknowledged his existence with LSU ever.
Right.
it's
Like,
like,
I didn't
yeah.
even know he wanted to be associated with the program in any form or fashion. Remember when he was coming back for like a week and a half?
Yeah, he was the best leader we've ever seen. He changed his life. Never mind.
We
Jaden
That was
sucks.
for that would have been for this year.
It would have been for this year.
Holy
And then
shit.
He was just like, I don't know, Jaden can't throw.
Could you imagine?
and you went in the fucking
I don't
seventh
want anything
round.
to do with Kayshawn. I would
But
not
at this
trade
point, He'd
Kayshawn.
probably be a first round draft pick again at this point. That's the funny
Probably
thing
would.
about it.
He probably would, but give me Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas.
Oh yeah, sign me up. We I
Yeah,
feel
we
like it
didn't
kind of fits here. We were discussing a little bit before the show started about how like the college football is going to be changing to where it's like it's not a do or die every week. You just kind of got to be one of the best 12. And it's like that's kind of almost how I feel. You know, everyone's knocked Brian Kelly, not winning big games, whatever, losing the random game. And it's like, I think we're going to be okay with that, though. Like, if we can get to the end of the season, one, everyone's going to start losing in this new SEC. But it's like, hopefully, Brian Kelly's the guy that gets the team going at the end of the season and not necessarily like we don't have to be the juggernaut from week one. So I'm
like-
kind of interested how this plays out.
I liked how there was something that was said. Moscona said it either last week or might have been some point last week. He was referencing Scott Woodward discussing Brian Kelly's or going into this season. They were talking to Woodward about expectations and his thoughts on the development of the program. And it was before the Florida State game. And like he specifically said, you know, I'm very confident in the direction that we have moving forward. I just hope that fans are patient and don't live week to week with wins and losses and in the moment. This is going to be a program you're going to be very proud of and you're going to be fully invested in, but it's going to take some time. And I trust that like we're moving in the direction with Brian Kelly and that's the goal. And so it's like looking back at that in hindsight, right before the Florida State game, he's like already warning people like,
Yeah.
we're not there yet. Like we're going to lose some games here, but don't lose sight of the big picture of like what we're trying to do with this program. It's not just about getting a 5-star and winning the big game. It's about winning and graduating champions and like making a polished program. And that's going to take some time. So it's like he knows, he believes this is the dude that hired, like he expected to have some hiccups, and we're in that hiccup stage of like, is this worth it? Like, what's the end result here?
We're getting crushed online, Scott. Like we're getting crushed out here, my dude.
For us out here.
No, I mean that's one of the pros of having Woodward is he's not going to get bullied around by anybody. He understands like this 10-year contract to Brian Kelly was to come build a wagon for year 3 through 8 and hopefully beyond. But it's like we're not going to live and die with week 6 at Ole Miss. Like we just not. And it's like, yeah, it sucks in the moment. We have the best offense in the country, which is pretty unusual for LSU fans, and to see it like squandered away sucks. But you just have to know that like this is a foundational step to possibly getting the #1 quarterback out of high school instead of having to dance in the transfer portal where all of a sudden we got 3 years of taking shots at the national title, like guaranteed.
And that's what's given me hope in all of this is that, and that's why I'm not out on Brian Kelly and fucking walking around with pitchforks like this dude needs to be fired. Like I'm not going down that road right now, because there was a lot of discussion and about Jayden Daniels and the direction of this offense and Mike Denbrock and having a fucking tight end on the field at all times, and just like this whole thing of like we've been trying for so long. Outside of a magical 2019 season, we've been like just thirsting for fucking offense, dude. We've been begging for a modern fucking football team. It's just like, hey, we want to compete. Like if we have to get in shootouts, we want to know that we have the chance to pull this out, that we're going to, put our talented Louisiana athletes on display and run up scores, dude. We always thought, and we took it for granted, that LSU will always have dudes on defense and we'll figure it out, right? But he stuck to his guns. There was no quarterback competition. I'm bringing my dude in from Arizona State. Like he's going to be a running quarterback that's going to learn how to throw and be more confident. And now we're sitting here middle of year 2 with Jayden Daniels, and he's a completely different cat than we saw coming in week 1 last year, right? Like he is so far developed and exceeded expectations. And the entire offense now is following suit. It's not just one dude. It's an entire side of the football that is executing at a high level. I would totally have a different tune if our offense looked like shit. Like if our offense looked just like our defense right now, I'd be like, dude, something is seriously wrong right now. But there is not a flaw on offense right now. And you've seen where it started and where it is now. So he can do that. He
believes in the process. He believes in what they're trying to do.
Right. And so we were able to get the good fortune of having talent kind of stacked up, bought in, taking their lumps, and then coming in year 2 and producing. Defensively, the recruiting was down. We did not fill up where we needed. We had a very big misfortune on our defensive line coach. Like there's been so many hits being taken that it looks bad, and it is bad, but like, we're not going to not fix it, right? Like, we're not going to just sit back and be like, this is the worst defense of all time. And fuck it. That's who we are. And we're just never going to change. Like, this isn't a Alex Grinch, Oklahoma situation where it's like every fucking year we have this great offense and our defense is just awful. Like, I don't believe this is ever going to happen again. We're going to get better and better each week. We're never going to be great this season on defense because we just don't have the dudes to be great. We have the dudes to be good. And can we get to a good quote unquote position or above average? Maybe so. But I guarantee you this type of offense is not going away. Like it might not be as electric as a fully top performing Jayden Daniels, right? You're going to take some hits with Nuss a little bit, but overall you're going to score points. You're not going to be running toss dives. You're going to be executing at a high level offensively. Maybe that's the pitch. Maybe that is how we turn this program around, is that the offense becomes so damn elite that we figure out how to fucking find a defensive coordinator that gets it, and we've got it squared away. But it starts with the process, the path, any one of those whatever terms that you want to use. I believe that it's going to be done. And we didn't believe it last year, or we knew that it would take a lot of time, especially after getting beat up against Tennessee, and we turned it around. You're seeing a different type of offense this season, which can be in any game, any week. The defense just has to do just a little bit better, dude. They can't be the worst defense in the nation. Like, we have to get a little bit better, and I think we will.
Well, and pretty quickly they built up the trenches on the offensive side of the ball to give us as good an offensive line as we've pretty much ever had. Hopefully year 3, year 4, we can also start compounding on that on the defensive side. And then, all of a sudden finally start getting all these DBs again to come in. And I don't know. I'm still very optimistic about where we're going to be. We're going to get made fun of every time we lose. Everyone wants to make a joke about Brian Kelly. And it's like, we just got to keep our head down and keep working. And it's like, at some point we're going to have those opportunities to get national titles, to play in these massive games.
I can't wait for the one day that we can win a national championship, because after that day's done, there will always be that image to reply to any of the jokes. It'll be like, he's an asshole, we all hate him, but then it can just be like, well, fucking here's the trophy. Like,
4 straight coaches, 4 titles.
Yeah, so it'll happen. I don't know how soon it'll happen, but I think we just need to be patient. And in the meantime, every week is going to be a must watch. This is going to be a fucking heart attack waiting to happen. But guess what? We've got a brilliant quarterback. We have a well-oiled offense, a nasty O-line, and an offense that knows they have to carry this team. They know every game they have to be perfect, and they've stepped up to that occasion. So I'm excited about week to week. It's going to be fun to watch. We'll see what happens this week against Auburn.
Yeah, really a survive and advance playing all. And I don't think we give enough credit to, like, LSU's played majority of their games on the road. It's like, we're finally coming home. We're going to be able – it's probably going to look a little bit better in Tiger Stadium, hopefully. Maybe lean on some teams.
One thing before we move on from this, the last thing I want to say about Jaden that he's totally improved on, even in like the past 2 weeks, there is no more hesitancy. There is no more apprehension or like second guessing his throws. One of my favorite ones, very short pass, very simple pass, but in years past, like he would have second guessed it or rushed it or decided to run it. It's a 2-point conversion after taking that hit, getting up, getting that football, and just no hesitancy, no thinking about it, just drilling the ball where only Malik could catch it, low in the front of the end zone where it's right in his breadbasket without even a second thought. That is him being in command and trusting, exactly, like seeing it before it happens. We've been waiting for that type of Jaden Daniels to come in, and he's here.
Well, and I mean, shit, I'm trying to pull it up, but you can go back to that drive. There we go, 5 plays. The drive started on the LSU 8, and you took a sack. You ran the ball on 2nd and 11.
All Jaden.
And then all of a sudden, Jaden Daniels takes off, picks up a first down. Then you throw a bomb to Neighbors. You get one to Taylor, and all of a sudden, you scramble for a 35-yard touchdown. It's like back against the wall in your own
first
end zone.
lead of the game.
Yeah,
and you just easily march it down 90 yards in 7 plays. And it's just like you're just never out of it with this dude at quarterback.
He played like that against Bama last year. Yeah. Where it was like, that's the Jaden that we know he can be. And it's like, we've been waiting for him to be consistent with that. And now this season, the last few weeks, you've been seeing that Jaden every week.
And we were begging him to throw some picks, but he's really kept up his efficiency. And he's like, he takes care of the ball. Yeah. One of the picks off the top of my head is Malik Neighbors falling down against Florida State. I can't think of the Arkansas one necessarily off the top of my head, but it's like, he's still protecting the ball, which once again, when you look at the other side of the defense, it's like we can't be giving up free possessions. And it's like become that guy, that gunslinger that we all talk about Nuss being, of just airing it out. But it's like there's no downside to it either.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's the full package right now. So,
and he's going to throw for 83 yards against Auburn. And we're going to be bitching that Nuss didn't play and that he doesn't have it. He can't play in front of Tiger Stadium lights. Like, you know, we'll the ebbs and flows of the season. But
dude, the Jaden Daniels lifers though, like they are vicious right now. It's like, dude, like
out.
They are screaming at ghosts. Like no one is talking shit about Jaden Daniels right now. And they're, if you ever fucking say anything about Jaden again, you it's like, guys, I don't think anyone's mad at Jaden Daniels right now. Like
I tweeted that kind of as a joke of like, y'all better not be fucking talking shit about Jaden, and everyone just starts chiming in top rope. Like they better not be. I was like, oh fuck, I guess I gotta like side with this one now.
Dude, Moscona went on like a 10-minute rant. He's like, all you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Wanted to say, it's like, dude, no one's still saying that. Shut the fuck up.
Everyone agrees that we're on the same page here.
Yeah, like he had some fucking issues. No one was like wanting him to be benched.
It's Nuss's like drinking buddies that have a problem with it.
It's just people.
Nuss is Jaden's like biggest fan, dude. Like
no, exactly. It's not Nuss.
You know, the defense looks like shit to start the game, and I just tweet fire Pete Jenkins and get DMs like, you think he's the problem? I'm like, no, dude, I don't. Like, I don't.
That must be our newest listeners. That's who that is.
No such thing as a flop. I love that. That was the Odell Beckham, right? Wasn't that like an Odell Beckham ode? Or are we talking about Brandon Harris? I forgot.
Yeah, I don't remember
Somebody was a flop.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. It always makes LSU games are always fun. It's like that meme. Well, I think I tweeted it last year of like, oh, my favorite team plays today. I'm so excited. Game starts. I want to kill myself. Oh, good, we won.
Yeah.
So similar to the question before of game management, but it's like for Les Miles, there were some glory days.
Let's circle back to this.
Wait. There were some glory days for under Les Miles, correct?
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
He could have fucking
managed.
He could have like just gassed that place up and threw a match into it the day Saban left.
But there
were some glory days.
Never had time management glory days. Let's be clear with that.
No. That's not where I'm going with this. Where I'm going with this is Les Miles also had you in heart attack mode on a regular basis on a regular game, and then we would win. But it was a defensive win. So would you rather watch us give up, 700 yards and we win the game, 49 to 48?
Anything is better than what we're dealing with on this defense. I hate it.
So you would rather watch 9-6.
Yeah.
No,
that's what I'm saying. Like
totally different areas.
No, it is. What I'm saying is, would you rather us be inking out these games like, fuck, we're at the edge of our seat the entire game, Brian Kelly version, or edge of our seat, T-Bob snaps it over the quarterback's head because the time's running out against Tennessee, and then we end up.
I enjoyed watching our defense be fucking savages and knowing that like eventually we're gonna fucking get a touchdown or we're gonna throw a bomb, we're gonna get a punt return.
The only thing I would say to that is that in this day and age of football, you have to have an offense to win games. Like if you rolled in there being like, guys, we're gonna toss dive it 30 times, we might run a short side option. And we're going to have 112 yards receiving this game. Like, that's just not going to win you games anymore, where you could, like, kind of grit and grind that shit out in 2010.
We tried to hit the post.
Ruben Randall
was he was open that one time. We just couldn't get it together.
Traven Durrell, man, he could run by anybody.
But to kind of talk about that, I think – maybe I was the one convincing everyone, but I had this kind of feeling of the whole, like, I'm going to shit my pants all game feeling. I kind of thought that was going to go out the window with Brian Kelly. Like, we were going to be more of like a business-like team. And we're getting there where I don't think we're heavily penalized and any of that stuff. Like, we're not sending 10 guys out all the time, but I did think it was going to feel a little easier.
It's
and
not
maybe
as crisp.
Maybe year 5 we'll get the crispness.
Yeah.
But it's not where I anticipated it being.
Well, I mean, it's just we still don't have a punt return game because we don't trust it.
Will we ever?
It's gonna have to be year 3. Year 3, we're gonna get some punt return.
Do you think we could like sneak Clayton to? We're like, no, he was a freshman. He's a junior now, and just like keep this dude for 5 years, just fair catching everything. Which, like, with our offense, I don't want to ever take the ball out of the end zone. I don't want to ever. I kind of liked when Clayton just got the fuck away from the ball, and even though it rolled down, I think to the 8 on that play, it's like at least we didn't fuck it up. At least Jaden Daniels gets the ball. So it's like at this point, I'll live with it.
Man,
We've already gone down the road where there's just no more fun time in football where we thought every punt in the air was going to the house. Like that was electric. Now I'm shitting my pants every time the ball's in the air.
Little progress on kickoff team, like touchbacks. I mean,
I like seeing the kick return. I like seeing fucking Caleb Jackson fucking show some burst.
Nah, I'm all set. Fair catch it and don't touch it.
Dude, Jackson can wiggle, man.
Yeah,
there's always
ball in offense.
There's always a penalty. It's like no matter what happens, like the refs are gonna be like, we're trying to get rid of this from the game. Yeah. When will they learn?
Or it's like the ball's gonna pop out once, and it's like, well, now our defense is never gonna be able to catch up.
How about one guy we haven't seen? I don't feel like I've seen Pimpton a lot, and he gets called for that hold, but I thought it was a great block.
It was a good block.
It was fine.
Like
they hadn't been calling that.
That's what I'm saying. That's not a normal game. Like so it was a hold, but that's not a normal hold.
But all of that was because of Martinez. It was a bad snap by Martinez. It disrupted the flow. Jaden had to fucking wiggle out. Like it starts at the O-line.
Always does.
Good game.
Good game.
Needed that victory. We really needed that victory. That's a good Missouri team. That's a good Missouri offense.
That is a good team. That is a great. We played back-to-back great offenses.
Best wide receivers we'll see all year.
And running back. That running back was pretty salty too.
Yeah,
he had 3 touchdowns.
A&M's got some dudes.
Oh yeah,
Alabama.
But it was as much as I hate seeing Alabama win. It is nice to watch Texas A&M kind of piss down their leg. Like it is kind of fun to witness that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about all the pissing legs this week. Huh?
Yeah. So this past weekend, let's go into some of the games. Obviously, we discussed the awful finish to Miami and Georgia Tech. But Bama A&M was a big game, as well as the Red River rivalry between Oklahoma and Texas. Oh, you're on mute.
I was on mute. And also shout out to Grant because he did say, like, why can't Maryland beat Ohio State? But like that game was in doubt until
it was interesting.
It was
that game was interesting.
Awesome. That's what sucked about
it was tied at halftime.
I'm like, dude, I think it was tied going into the fourth quarter. It was. No, it was 20-17.
3-point game.
That's what sucked about the 11 a.m. game, though, because you knew Red River was just electricity. Yeah. You know, when Pat McAfee's on the sideline, Mike, you know it's going to be good.
I hate McAfee, man. I think he's got a place, but like not every show
everywhere.
The Pat McAfee show.
Yes, trust me, I agree. I used to love the podcast, and then he was on like literally everything, and I'm like, I have gotten way too much of this dude. I got to be out. But yeah, I mean, massive win by OU.
One funny thing about Pat's show last week was when Aaron Rodgers called out Kelsey for being Mr. Pfizer. I thought
we don't talk about that kind of
I just thought it was pretty funny.
I didn't see that.
Some people hated on it. Yeah, Aaron's like, yeah, Mr. Pfizer didn't really do anything last week.
It was good. It was very
pretty funny. Good joke. A lot of things you can call Kelsey, but Mr. Pfizer's the funniest.
So let's go through our picks. Let's go through our picks, and we'll talk about the games that happened.
Georgia laid it on Kentucky.
Oh God, just shat all over them.
I told y'all in the group chat, but it was kind of funny. Like that whole time I was watching that game, I was like, this game played out exactly like I thought. And then Grant was like, you took Kentucky. I was like, what? Excuse me?
You'd have been 5-0. You'd have been 5-0.
I took the under in the OU game. So if OU would have actually taken that sack, OU and the under would have hit. But I don't care. Boomer sooner.
Grant, do you want to go through some of the picks from last week?
Yeah. So Oklahoma, Texas. Me and wait a minute.
While
Yeah,
you're
me
looking
and Mike had Texas. Brett had Oklahoma. What do you got, Mike?
what was the spread on that?
6.5.
6.5 Texas.
So we're good.
No, OU covered.
No, OU won
Texas
the
was
game.
favored by 6.5.
Yeah.
I thought I
Yeah.
forgot. Yeah. So down goes Texas. McConaughey in the house. Dr. McConaughey. Love to see that. Oklahoma is a sneaky team right now. I think they are definitely, obviously they're undefeated, but they're in that same breath of, the Oregons and, teams like, I wouldn't say North Carolina. They're better than North Carolina. But maybe like LSU, where it's like this team could make a run and they could beat a lot of teams right now. Texas is a very good offense. Brent Venables has done a hell of a job turning it around in 1 year, right? Year 2, he is now 6-0 and literally leads for the Big 12 before heading into the SEC. He's recruiting great. Really, really, really big win for the Sooners. And the rest of
all-time press conference answer. Did you hear what he said at the press conference?
I had it on mute and I was trying to mouth read in bed.
He said he's been on
his knees. Yeah.
I've been on my knees a lot in this career.
You didn't see that, Mike?
I didn't know what he says.
He's sitting there with his other players, like sitting on the side of him.
I saw the video, and they were like,
he's like, I've spent a lot of time on my knees in this profession, and blah blah. And his player next to him's like,
I saw that. Yeah. I didn't know what he said.
He was on his knees.
Big game. That was a really big win. That's a fun rival game, dude. That is a really fun game. That's always back and forth. It's always exciting
great.
for the most part. I know
this is the first time. What they say in 10 years, it's been 2 undefeated teams or something like that. That they were both undefeated.
It's been a while. All right.
It's so weird that they're going to be in the SEC next year. It's just so strange.
What I was going to say, Oklahoma does play UCF this week. UCF's currently 5th in the country in offense. So, and now they're on a 3-game skid. They lost to Baylor and
is that John
Kansas.
Yeah,
I think it is. So they're currently 5th. They're LSU's 3rd in the country in offensive yards per game. Who would have thought that? Anyway, other game, of course. Bama, Texas A&M. It was Bama -2.5. Brett, me and Brett had Bama. Mike, you had Texas A&M.
Okay.
Shovel. I returned the shovel to fucking Home Depot. Like I had to take it out of the shed. The little fucker will never die. Like he's just hanging around.
He's hanging around.
He's still here.
Check, never bet.
Other game, Georgia, Kentucky. Georgia -14.5.
I almost feel like I get a half. I could have sworn I took Georgia in that game.
Y'all both
black out on the podcast.
And I took Georgia. Poland, nice.
Shout out watching live from Poland.
Are you okay? Is Poland okay right now?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not good with geography these days, but like, we doing okay out there?
Poland's safe.
Shout out.
Also, huge erection. Yes, we did talk about Cristobal's mishap.
I don't know. There's not much to say. Oh, shout out to the troops. We love the troops.
Oh yeah. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
That would make more sense.
Damn. Go.
So then we had Louisville and Notre Dame.
Louisville. Notre Dame -6.5, and and Brett, Mike and Brett both had Louisville. I had Notre Dame.
Nice.
The game just got out of hand so quickly. It was like
way out of hand.
I was like, I kind of want to see this. I'm tired of Notre Dame people always talking shit. Like, let's get a good watch in, and it just like completely unraveled.
They went in hard whenever we were down to Missouri. They went in. Notre Dame's fans were going in raw.
Yeah, they were,
and they apologized. Like there was accounts owning up to it and apologizing to LSU fans. Like, can you imagine being that invested in hating Brian Kelly that you lose to Louisville and
God.
your tweet is about apologizing to LSU fans?
They had to go to confession on Sunday for that.
Well, and to be fair, it did feel like a game that Brian Kelly would have never lost at Notre Dame.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like he was. They're insane, dude.
Louisville is a curious team this year. We'll have to take a look at them previewing when we look at the upcoming games.
They're curious.
Kind of curious about them. Yeah, love seeing them. Love seeing Notre Dame lose to anybody at this point.
Texas A&M just mustering up 3 points in the second half. Like what a scam artist, Jimbo, you fucking asshole.
What are they now? They have 2 losses.
4-2.
Yeah, Miami and Bama. When they didn't go for it on like 4th and 1 on the 50, I was like, well, this game's toast. Like you gotta just be on the positive side of these to beat Bama.
Mm-hmm.
This was our last pick here. Arizona at USC, and Brett and Mike, you had Arizona. I had USC. So it was minus 21.5 USC.
I'm seeing the board as well as I ever have. Like we're just kind of feeling the board out.
Do you want to know the season stats so far?
Yeah, go for it. But let's talk about USC Arizona real quick.
Let's talk about that.
I fell asleep and then woke up at the end of that game and was just
woke up in overtime?
I woke up right before overtime.
I turned it all off.
And I saw like the fucking almost a Cristobal situation from Lincoln Riley.
That was bad.
Like the pass, okay, one, they could have just kneeled it out, right? Called their timeout, kicked the field goal, and it's over. They're all over the place, dude. Like they're rattled. They look like us. Like they looked like something I've seen many times before watching LSU. It was just like, yeah, I've seen this shit before. And Caleb Williams tries to throw like a dart in the end zone. And it was just like a bad throw. Like I don't think the receiver was ready for it. Could have easily been a pick if the DB was paying attention. And then the next play, he fumbles and somehow gets on top of it. And then like the kick was just such an odd, like there was no, like you could tell he was going to miss this kick. Like they were rushing it. They were not comfortable and he fucking missed the kick. Or they had a bad snap. Like it was just like
bad snap. Well, he missed it technically, but yeah, that was ugly.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have tried to even kick that. They should have done like a fire drill or something. But
I can't make it through a 20-minute halftime at 11 p.m. Like I can't anymore.
It was, and I fell asleep in overtime. Like I fell back asleep. That's how long the overtime was taking.
Well,
like, I can't keep this up.
I can't because when it's a 11 a.m. game, I decide to start drinking at 11. It turns into problems.
Imagine having soccer practice 2 hours before that.
He will.
One day.
Let's go through the season records so far on our pick.
Season records. So according to my calculations, through week 6, we have 27 games that we've picked. A few weeks we've had more than 5.
Let's go through the standings.
That's how it works.
And so 5. Yeah, that makes sense. So who do we want to take a guess is leading in the win?
This doesn't need to be a big segment.
Just give me the goddamn numbers.
Do you want the last place or first place first?
It doesn't
matter. Just go through it. I just want to see where we're at right now.
Blind resume.
I'm guessing it's Brett, Grant, Mike. That's
so here we go. In last place. Actually, let's do this. In second place. Wait. Here we go. In second place is Mike at 14 out of 27 picks.
Okay. So Brett's leading the charge.
14 out of 27
I feel like I have
picks.
to be.
So out of me and Brett,
I think
I
had one bad week.
11 wins.
Yeah.
16 losses. Brett's leading the way with 17 out of 27.
17.
Yeah,
wow. I'm telling you, man. We've been seeing the board. We had one really bad week where I think I went 1-5. Other than that, we've been.
Well, last week you were 500.
He's handing out free money. I'm handing out free money.
Last week you were even. The week before you were 2-4.
All right, we've
We're
got some good. We've got
undefeated
some ball
week
to talk about
3.
this weekend. We'll get back in it because we'll make more picks. We'll make more picks.
More picks. Let's
I,
go.
because of my stupidity and stubbornness to not change any picks, I have fallen from the top spot in the SEC pick'ems. I am now 1 game behind. I'm at
We'll get you
6.
back. We'll get you back.
I blew it with the Arkansas Ole Miss pick and obviously A&M.
So the big games on the board this week, you have Oregon at Washington, 2:30 ABC. A&M Tennessee is whatever. USC Notre Dame, Miami North Carolina. Those are really like your big games. UCLA Oregon State, but I don't want to pick that game.
Yeah, so we obviously have Oregon Washington's 1.
Oregon Washington. Let's talk about it.
If we were doing for reals, I would just probably take the over.
See, this
kind
is
of
where
like
you start fucking me with the over-unders.
we don't have to do overs. I'm just telling you, I like the over. I would rather bet the over. I think I like Washington here.
What's the line? You know,
2.5. Washington minus 2.5.
Washington minus 2.5, and it's at Washington.
Correct. I love Oregon. I've loved Oregon almost my entire life. Dennis Dixon was like my favorite quarterback in NCAA 07. Was that? Yeah, Dennis Dixon.
At 07?
I don't know. I just picked the year. I think 07 was maybe a Tebow cover.
I like Oregon.
I wish I did. I don't know why. Washington is calling my name. I'm gonna ride the Phoenix.
Really good. Washington's really good, and they're at home. You're riding with Penis. Michael Penis.
1,000% would just be riding the over, cheering for points if like we were sitting down on a Saturday. But if you're gonna make me pick, I'm gonna take Washington.
What's the points?
67. Seems like not enough. It's kind of a weird number, which means you should probably take the under. But we're seeing the board well, and we're just gonna trust our gut.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Oregon plus 2.5.
Grant.
Yes. Oregon plus 2.
Okay. Now I like it. I like it.
2.5.
Yeah, it's
2.5. Yeah.
I hooked
No,
it.
2.5.
You didn't finish that.
Sorry, I'm picking Oregon. I was trying to pick.
Change.
So I found 5 games. I did find 5 total games that are good. Brett, you said you're going with Washington
Yes.
with the Penis Master.
Yep. Riding the Phoenix.
Riding the Phoenix. Love it. Love it. 4. Okay, so the next game we have A&M Tennessee. It's kind of a big game.
Are we being serious here? Notre Dame is favored?
Yes.
Wait.
I was going to get to that.
I was
going to get to
that.
We can do it now if you want, but I was going to go to I was going to go to A&M Tennessee. A&M Tennessee.
All
That's
right.
your 2:30 slot there. It's Tennessee minus 3.5. I feel like that's a trap game for A&M, but
A&M at Tennessee.
Mhm.
A&M at Tennessee minus 3.5. Tennessee.
What's the over under?
656.
56.
56. It's a shitty number.
Ugh, I don't like this game. I don't like picking this game. But this is the one you want us to pick.
I know who I'm going with.
I'll take A&M plus the points.
Yes. Same.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, dude, it's just
fun, but I don't believe in Tennessee right now.
yeah. You
A&M's
look at this line, you're like A&M just lost 3.5 on the road. It's just weird thing. Give me A&M.
Okay. Next one, USC Notre Dame. We can go to that one quickly.
And this is at Notre Dame.
It's at Notre Dame. And it's Notre Dame 2.5. That's insane. But
give me USC.
God, this just like
Caleb Williams is going to eat up Notre Dame.
You're gonna see a tweet on Saturday morning of like 97% of the bets are in on USC, and the line is gonna be like Notre Dame minus 2.5 still. And it's like you just have to take Notre Dame. Fuck. Since it's like Monday, I'm just gonna take USC. You can't.
So we're all on USC. That makes me want to pick Notre Dame.
I'm telling you, dude. Like when the stinkiest line that you can imagine. Like
I'm gonna stick with USC. We'll all lose together.
there's gonna be on the lookout. Like put a bolo out for at 6:27 on Saturday. I'm probably gonna tweet out that I officially changed my pick to Notre Dame, and then
Here's
delete the
the-
tweet.
I think
30 seconds in.
This is the game that Caleb's like, remember me, I am the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. It's
Yeah.
all eyes on me at Notre Dame. That offense is gonna be tearing it up. USC's defense is not great. Notre Dame's gonna score points. I just
Notre
think
Dame's defense or offense has just like been not impressive for 3 straight weeks.
I think it's gonna be a boat race type of environment and
better than last year because of the quarterback, but
USC
Is it,
plus
though? Is it?
their offense is better than last year's offense.
I mean, yeah, their offense last year was pretty ass, but it's like, I don't know. Let's go back through their games. They've scored 20 points against Louisville. They scored, who'd they played? The Ohio State, they scored 10. And what is it, Duke? What did they score? 17? I mean,
that's
I,
right?
I don't know. You can't win with that.
So we can do these last 3 games here and do 6 picks this week, or pick 2 of these 3.
Yeah, we should. I mean,
'Cause
Miami,
these are
North
these are 3
Carolina.
good games.
Miami, North
Miami-
Carolina is definitely a good game to pick.
Missouri, Kentucky. I mean, shit, that's an interesting game, and so is UCLA, Oregon State.
What's the
Yeah.
LSU Auburn line?
LSU is favored by 11.
We
That
have
might
one of
be
the
a-
biggest spreads for a ranked game all season.
LSU should cover that, but to give another team 10 points against this defense is like very, very hard to do.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and discuss Miami and North Carolina. Let's stay on
Okay.
track. One
It's
thing at a time.
Miami, North Carolina. It's North Carolina minus 3.5.
I love Miami in this spot. Love them. Everyone's been shitting on, going to be a shit on them for a week. No, North Carolina, Drake May, blah, blah. No, Miami's just going to go in there and get the dub.
North Carolina minus 3.5.
You're a Raleigh boy.
I had to. It's Raleigh. Yeah.
Same at home. Okay.
Durham.
What do we say? Missouri, Kentucky.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this game.
Why?
I'm not doing this game.
Well, then I think we should skip both of these and make Mike do the real Raleigh-Durham showdown and pick NC State at Duke.
How about UCLA, Oregon State? Oregon State's a really good team right now.
Yeah, I haven't been locked into the Pac-12 teams as much as I would like. Definitely ready to settle in for Oregon, Washington. I would take Oregon State here.
What's the line?
4. Oregon State minus 4.
But UCLA just upset Washington State last week, I think.
Yeah, big upset. Because Washington State was good.
So who are you going with, Mike?
Oregon State.
Same.
Riding the beeve.
Hey, let's just pick Missouri, Kentucky. Let's throw another game in. We have to. Mike, it's fine. Because I'm going with Missouri.
Why do you want 6 games this week? Does that give you a chance to get out of last?
No, but it's just a good game to pick. It's a nice, good.
Not a good game to pick.
Mike, it's not going to really mess up your record.
There's no BYU Kansas.
We're not
on
even
the
like
board.
playing.
But you're really fighting me on this. Like we picked 5 games, and you're begging for this game to be picked. What is it? What is it?
It's Missouri's going to win. Just pick with me.
Missouri at Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky's favored 2.5.
I'll take Kentucky then.
All right, I'm going to go with my pick'ems. I'm going to stick to this.
Yeah, stick to whatever that is.
Now I'm going to have to look it up.
I mean, dude, Kentucky gets absolutely blasted by Georgia. Everyone calls them frauds. Missouri's like, oh, you know, they can still score, and Kentucky's somehow going to win this game. The total seems low for how good Missouri's offense can be.
All right, I have Kentucky on my pick'ems.
Oh, wow. Okay, perfect. Works out even better. I'll put an asterisk. Mike didn't want to really pick this game. Okay. All right.
The boys are playing golf this weekend.
Yeah. We're walking Audubon in the rain.
Don't give out the tea time. We can't be having people out there looking for autographs and
No
stuff.
graphs, but I will be boots on the ground for the Auburn game. This is going to be a battle, dude. Auburn's going to be a battle. It always is. No matter how shitty they are, no matter how shitty we are, it's always a game. Hugh Freeze is going to watch this tape and lick his fucking chops harder than he's licked anything in the past 10 years.
That's what's gonna be heartbreaking is when Auburn looks like the Auburn of old, and we're like, oh, it's Hugh Freeze, but then you look at the rest of their season and be like, God, they've been so bad. Robbie
our
Ashford's diming us up out here.
It's going to be good to be home. Our offense is going to work that defense. I think that's going to be the thing. We have to step up and get some stops. I feel like they are a little one-dimensional. They're a good running team. This might look like a Mississippi State type of offense. And we did well against them. I think this is probably a little bit better athletes and better coach team, but similar type of product and what they try to do. And I think our defense steps up to the occasion. I think we cover. And I think this is a great 10 to 16-point victory.
Yeah, I think this is the first of a 4-week program of us just fully talking ourselves into the defense, figuring it out. I think Auburn's bad offense, they're probably going to make LSU look stupid at times, but I think for the most part, you're going to be like, oh, we're tackling better. We're figuring some things out. Army rolls in. We're going to tackle the hell out of them, and then we got a bye week.
Yep. Here we go. We're almost there. Hopefully some good crisp weather moving in Louisiana.
I think the weather's going to be ideal. Keep the rain out.
Just keep the rain out. If we have a little drizzle for the tea time, that's fine.
I would prefer it. If we're being honest,
you love the slop.
I like wet balls. Shafts and balls that are wet.
I just don't like putting in that shit.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I agree. If it's too sloppy, I agree. But you can also just hammer putts, and they're not just going to go flying off the green.
Yeah, it's a lot of drying with the towels, though. A lot of wipe downs.
Might have to go pick up a couple extra gloves. And when I say pick up, I mean go to my parents' garage and steal them from my father.
Yeah, grab a few. Grab a few Pro Vs as well.
If I tell him though, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I have the Titleist mittens that JT wears." I'm like, no, Dad, I don't need to go there.
I don't need oven mitts.
So, but if you do see me on Friday with the oven mitts, just
I'll know that JT wears them. So
JT.
you can.
All right, let's go to sleep.